All right, guys, so I'm a little bit unorthodox. You'll probably see this in this. It's going to be a little bit off script at times, but I think it's important to really cover off what we're going to talk about today. So who am I? I've been doing SEO for just over 10 years now. We're a full-service digital marketing agency. We're based in Mandurah down in the south. I don't know if any of you guys have been down there, but it's a nice place if you get a chance to visit. We specialise in SEO, Google Ads, websites, and content mainly. Dabble in a bit of Facebook ads as well. And in this financial year, we've written over 100 blog articles for clients and a couple of 100,000 words of content. But honestly, who cares? Everyone says this kind of stuff, right? So there's three things you need to know about me. I love four-wheel driving, I love camping, and I love my family. So there's the three things you need to know about me. Three things you need to know about our team. Is that we build awesome websites that are designed to convert. We send heaps of traffic to them, and then we try and get that traffic to buy things, pay for services, things like that. And we just want to help good people become renowned for doing great business at scale. That's our vision. That's where we want to be. Cool. So full disclaimer, right? Before you even worry about what I'm going to talk about today, make sure you get your SEO fundamentals right, like Callum covered. Make sure you establish expertise, authority, and trust, and then worry about your content. Because if you don't do those two things first, what's the point? It's a very time-consuming process, and if people can't see the content, you might as well just not do it. There's better things you could be doing with your time than developing content strategies and developing content. So the world of content. This is the world of content. Now, I stole this from someone else, but it's a very good example of what content actually is. So content covers a whole bunch of stuff. I don't have enough time to cover the whole swag of content today, so I'm just going to focus on articles, blog content, because it's something we get asked about a lot, and it's very binary. Either, in my opinion, you either do it right or you do it wrong. And there's fundamentally a few things. So why worry about blogs? So we're going to talk about public liability insurance today. And this is the funnel of any content strategy. Any content revolves around this funnel here. Doesn't matter if it's podcast, doesn't matter whatever it is. You have non-commercial content, non-commercial intent, like Callum mentioned, and you have commercial intent. So your fundamental goal with non-commercial content is to develop awareness, develop discovery, get people to consider you, and then they become your customer. It goes from informational, people investigating you, and then transactional relationships. So the top three sections of that funnel, those are some of the questions that come up in Google search when you are trying to capture that part of the funnel. So do I need public liability insurance? Can I purchase public liability insurance online? Who needs public liability insurance? What's not covered by public liability insurance? These are all questions I asked when I was starting MyOnlineGuy. I'm sure we all do the same thing, because you don't want to get hammered by some salesman going, oh, you need it for this. So we all do our own diligence online. That there is a good cover off what non-commercially will drive someone from awareness and discovering information to investigating to the very, very small bottom part of the funnel where they're actually going to purchase. Those are some of the questions, those are some of the things people type into Google when it comes to commercial search. So public liability insurance quote, cheap public liability insurance, public liability insurance for a sole trader, public liability insurance Perth. Notice how there's a lot less of those than there is non-commercial. I would argue that most searches, there's probably 10 times the amount of traffic in non-commercial search than there is commercial. And the secret is to how do you get people, look at this. How do you get people from this part of the funnel to this part of the funnel when they're right to buy? And this is probably where most people get it wrong, is they do everything to try and get this part of the funnel and do nothing to get this part, even though this part of the funnel is 10 times the size. So you're just basically giving that 90% to someone else. So I got asked to do a bit of a look at a real-life blog post. Now, for brevity's sake, I couldn't cover the whole thing. They're in the audience here, so I'm not going to bash them too hard. But there's some good learnings we can take here, and there's some good best practices when it comes to creating blog content that we can take from this. So title, probably the thing I see the most with titles is they just don't incentivize people to read them. You get a title, what is public liability insurance? who cares, you know, like, but if you make that title public liability insurance and how it can save you from ruin, well, there's not a person in this room that wants to be ruined, right? So you go, okay, actually, I probably should read that just in case there's something in there that I'm missing. What that does is it improves your click-through rate. So when in your search result, you got that title, you go, actually, I'm going to click on it. So for every person that, say for every 10 people that come to the Google search, and say one person clicks on that, that would be a 10% click-through rate, because that's how Google works it out. So you can really improve your click-through rate. Just think about the higher your click-through rate, the more bait you got in the water, better chance you got of converting them to inquiry by putting them through that funnel. So a great lead-in to encourage people to keep reading. Now, I don't know where I got the statistic from, but there is a statistic out there. You've got about 2 seconds. Someone will read an article for about 2 seconds before they decide it's not for me. Go back to Google search, look for the next thing in Google search. We all do it. That 2 seconds means the difference between that article ranking for a long time or ranking for a very, very short period and getting dropped out of the search results. Google looks at user experience when it comes to, so Callum touched on user experience. Google looks at user experience as, I go to an article and I get the information I need. My next search, if this is done properly, should be a completely different topic or a commercial search, because Google makes all of its money from commercial searches, pretty much, like with Google Ads. So its goal is the same as ours. It's trying to drive that non-commercial traffic that it can't monetize into commercial traffic. So we need people to read this article, and then if Google goes, this person read this article and they got the answer they need, even if they're only in there for 2 or 3 seconds, but their next search is not, or they're not clicking the next search down, or they're not making a search very similar, then Google goes, okay, we've given them the answer, they're getting the answers they need. So this image, I don't mind it. I personally like to have stuff that's a little bit more personable, but it takes up way too much copy space. And ideally, I would put that image above. The copy, because it takes so long to write, and quite frankly, it's not a cheap thing to do if you outsource it. It needs to be the star of the show. That picture there is just to give context to someone that's visually looking, but it actually takes up a lot of real estate. And on a smaller screen, that could be almost 2/3 of the top part of the article that we're trying to get it. And some people are pretty fickle, so they might go in and go, no, I can't be bothered reading that small section. I'm just going to go to something else. That's how we have to treat this. So I would put that above the copy, the writing, to make sure that the copy is the star of the show. So the bolded section. So very few businesses do this, so credit where credit's due. This bolded section doesn't answer the question succinctly. This is one of the secrets with content, and it's one of the secrets I think that a lot of people miss out on, is that it's not about bounce rate, it's not about how long they stay on the article, it's about where they get the answer. Some people want a 2-second answer, some people want to read a whole article, the whole white paper. If you can answer that question by just bolding a section that goes, public liability insurance is designed to protect you from damage. Some people will go, yep, that's cool, that's the answer. Look for the next question. So it's important to bold that answer. So if someone's skimming the article, they can see that section and go, yep, that's the answer I was after. I'm moving through, I'm picking up the kids from school or whatever. It also allows Google to know that that is the answer to the paragraph. So you see it, you can see these little snippets that pop up in Google where you ask a question and it will show a little section up the top. That is one really good way to get those, is you give Google the answer they need. Google goes, okay, well, we sent 10 people to this site, they've all gotten the answer they need, that must be a good answer. Let's put that at the top, and then people that want to do more research can click the article and find out more. So you want to make sure that that bolded section answers the question, a paragraph max, ideally 1 or 2 lines. So just continuing on. So subheadings. This is the area, another area, pinch point for businesses. A lot of businesses will write this. This is where they decide in all of their business to get super fancy and super creative. They write these as if they're talking to, it's a personal blog. These need to answer questions in searches. So use titles that people will search, like what is public liability insurance? It's not the place to get fancy. When people search for questions, they want answers. They don't want to see how you can mentally move words around and stuff. They just want the answer. So what is public liability insurance? Someone will physically type that into Google. There's a better chance Google will pick that up, that section, which came out with a recent update, and actually use that as part of the search result, as a rich snippet. Commercial, important to send traffic to commercial pages that are designed to convert. So this article is not designed to convert someone that's reading it. It's there designed to answer a question, but we can then drive that traffic. Oh, yep, sorry, I'm getting the nod. I'll just move through this quickly. So one of the secrets that we do that I don't see many people do is we actually put our own ads inside our own content. So, I just got that, but that's a landscaper we work with. We made an ad, we just put it inside his own content as an image. Doesn't get picked up by ad blockers, but it converts, turns that article from converting at like 0.5% to like 1.5%. Because if they're in Canberra, this may go to the whole country, but if they're in Canberra and they're looking for landscaping, you're answering the question, you're tied to the article. It's a really, really nice trick. External links to official context. So like links to government sources, things like that, very important. For every link you have in, you want to have a link going out. And then that's a good example of a good title. And keep your paragraphs small. This is not the time to be a grammar Nazi. It's got to be digestible and readable to people that are on the internet. So in the book, I've basically tried to lay out the best I can what makes up a good article. It's in your workbook. I've also got a little link to be able to download as a PDF. And that was it. The rest got cut out. So there was a couple of others, but anyway, it's thank you for your time, and yeah, there you go.